Hello everyone, we're looking at another role-playing game and it's the Roaring Twenties. God, I remember the Roaring Twenties. We're in the Roaring Twenties now and it's just as bad. Well, maybe not. Actually, at least the Roaring Twenties, or the past Roaring Twenties, were fun Roaring Twenties. The current Roaring Twenties are not so fun. But, here we go. Gangbusters. Ah, dear, oh dear, oh dear. I must thank my good friend Michael for having gotten me this copy, because my original copy, I have no idea where it went. Disappeared on me. And I am incredibly thankful to have this back in my collection. Yes, it is marvellous to have this. And because I am rather partial to this particular period. So let us go and have a look at what is in this particular box. Right, we are having a look at Gangbusters, 1920s role-playing adventure game from TSR Hobbies, 1980. Yes, well, sorry, 1980 is the TSR Hobbies date, but I believe the role-playing game was, I think, 1982. But anyway, what do you get in the box? This is the role-playing game itself. It was produced in, let's try and get this in the centre. I've gone for, this is actually the second time I've done this video, due to the fact that the first one, yes, I had everything nicely in the frame, but you just didn't get enough of the pictures. So I've gone this way, hopefully, to get everything now. So this is the rulebook, which is, I think, fairly standard for the time, which is about 64 pages. So the artwork, and that is, I think, fairly standard for its time. So the rulebook. Now I must thank my good friend Michael for having obtained me this copy, because my copy had disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, but he has obtained it, because I have a lot of miniatures. So if you have a look in the miniatures section of my Dusted Game Shelf channel, you will find that there is a collection that you can have a look at, and that will show you all the figures that I have for the pulp era, and that will have most of the figures that I have. You will find that I have a particular loving for the, I guess, the pulp, the golden age of pulp. So from the 1920s up to probably the 1940s and thereabouts. So this role-playing system we did play, I guess, briefly. I guess it wasn't really a huge game that we found a lot of interest in, but for me it's just one of those games that, you know, I've got to have, and so I can't tell you really too much more, except that yes, I've got it and I had to have it. Had to have it back in my collection. Look, I've even got the dice and that pencil, or sorry, the crayon, if you'd like to call it, that you could rub over to have the numbers stand out. So that was that. There are the chits to use for the figures. So that is those. Now this is a really nice thick cardboard, I guess you could call it, map. And it is two-sided, and it has one side has the, I guess the top side, or the top view of the city block, telling you what's in here. So you've got books and gifts, tobacco, a family restaurant. Might turn this around so that you might actually be able to read it rather than me being able to read it. So, you know, it's just a general, I guess, city block with all sorts of places that you can go visit. Then on the other side, you've got the internals for some of the blocks. So you've got just Broad Street, one street with the internals, and those chits that you had are what you can use for the actual game itself. So that was that. Then there was the introductory scenario, and I think I was looking at it. It seems to play as though it's a solo style, where you would turn to particular entries as you make your way through. Now, I do like that style artwork, and I'm not sure who the artist is, but he did a lot, or that person did a lot of artwork for TSR in the day. So that was that one. And finally there was this map, if I can get it out. It's not helping much, is it? And there was this map here, which I thought was rather good, which shows you the ward map of Lakefront City, and it gives you here a breakdown of middle and working class by ethnicity. So you've got, like for instance, working class Germans and mixed ethnic classes, and upper class assimilated, middle class assimilated, and you've got working class assimilated, and then you've got, you know, working class Irishmen. You know, God knows, you know, us Irishmen were everywhere, and not very well treated, I'll have you know. And then you had working class Italian, and the black ghetto, and the Jewish area. So yes, it was it's interesting. And then on the other side you have obviously the street and the rail networks. So that was an interesting, because I must admit the American system is something that is unfamiliar to me. So, and that was the little thing telling us what TSR had available at the time. But yeah, look, well, that was what was in the Gangbusters role-playing game, and I must say that I'm very happy to have this in my collection still. It is a boon to have, and as I have said, I thank my friend Michael very much for finally being able to have this back in my collection. So until next time, signing off, the Honourable John.